Season 4 of The Good Place here on the Universal lot really soon.
Here we go.
Also, there's a series on Netflix. No one's talking about it at all. Yeah, Bird Box. Bullock. Yeah, Bird Box. We did a little bit of filming here for Bird Box as well.
I always wanted to go on this in the studio tour. But last time I was here, it was dark time, so it was not open.
We're also finishing up season 10 of Will and Grace, which also airs Thursdays on NBC. Everyone, we got some seats in the front car. We got some seats here in front. Some of you just coming out of the queue area. 5 seats waiting to be filled. Okay, so we've been filming season 10 of Will and Grace. Also, recently, some of the characters from Will and Grace visited Universal Studios Hollywood in one of the episodes. While they were here, they of course took the tour, and here's what happened.
Anastasia Beaverhouse. Just an ordinary tourist from the Midwest.
Oh, me too. What part?
Mission, Soda, Pennsylvania. Home of the fighting Caucasians.
And here's what happened a little later on. Car 1, watch your arms and legs as the gate is coming down.
We've all had our share of humdingers. Me included. One time I took a drink that said Lisa on it from my coffee place. I know my name's not Lisa.
You are a bad girl. Stop the tram!
In fact, lots of famous people have taken this tour as well. Look at this.
I've been on that tour so many times since I was a kid, and I just love it every time.
The first time I ever went on the Universal lot, we did the tour.
I grew up in Los Angeles, and that was like the place to go and see Jaws.
I got my introduction to Universal Studios through the tour, and so then to be in the movies and seeing the trams drive by, it's very overwhelming.
One of the coolest
We are
things
live
about
in,
shooting for Universal is sometimes you get to shoot on the left.
Hollywood, Universal Studios.
Jaws, like, there's the flash flood and almost trams riding around. You can't. It's the coolest thing ever.
1979. Back then, tram drivers were kind of a little reckless, a little crazy. There was no restriction on cars going anywhere. We used to drive all over and kind of deal with them back and forth.
I have so many amazing memories of the lot when we were shooting Back to the Future.
Being here brings me back in time, I'll tell you that.
The tram would come through, the tourists would see Michael J. Fox, and they're taking their camera snap, snap, snap. So one day, Michael J. Fox had his own camera, and every time the tourists came through snapping their pictures, he ran out and he started taking pictures of them.
That was Bob Gale, one of the writers and producers of the Back to the Future trilogy with Michael J. Fox. So Bob Gale co-wrote and co-produced those movies with the film's director Robert Zemeckis, who through Skype, actually Robert Zemeckis, he's got his own production company now.
My brother,
they got their offices right here.
he took this tour, and I asked him, can you tell me about it? And he goes, I know, you got to experience for yourself.
And even catch Welcome to Morwen. All right. Movie's been kind of overlooked. Take a look at Welcome to Morwen. Also, I can really recommend it to you if you're a Back to the Future fan. There's a couple of Back to the Future references. Also, Welcome to Morwen with Steve Carell. What else is filming here? Okay, reality shows. Other reality shows like Jennifer Lopez's World of Dance, other non-scripted shows such as the talk show Home and Family, which airs weekdays on the Hallmark Channel, and Home and Family is hosted by Cameron Matheson and Debbie Matenopoulos. We're going to get really close to the house where the Home and Family show is being taped. Everybody watch your arms and legs as the gates are coming down. As part of our tour this afternoon, each of you will be needing a pair of these 3D glasses. Is there anybody who didn't get the 3D glasses or who needs a new pair?
I got it.
Raise your hand if so. Okay.
There we go.
We'll get it back to you. How to make we see here? Hey, we got.
Y'all can see through it.
Anybody else? Anyone else who didn't get the glasses? I think everyone we're good. Okay, so you don't want to wear these yet. They do not work on these screens, but there will be a couple of 3D segments on the tour which will entail using the glasses. Hang on to those for now. Without wave goodbye, we're out of here. Everyone, with all the excitement of this afternoon's tour, you're going to get some great opportunities. Get your cameras ready, but remember the tour is going to feature, well, some water effects. You may be getting a bit wet. Keep your cameras protected. I'm also going to ask you to refrain from the use of selfie sticks while on board. And small children whose feet maybe don't reach the floor when they're sitting down, I'm going to suggest you place them towards the center of your row away from the outside gates. Now, here's my co-host, who you might remember from Saturday Night Live. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, and he played himself briefly in Jurassic World. It's Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon.
You made it. Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide.
Robert.
And the greatest drive.
Andy.
They're the best. I love that. Even though
Robert
owes me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
Yes, thanks, Jimmy. We got a few safety rules to go over. First, rule number 1, if you need guest assistance or have a medical emergency, or if you drop something of value off the side of the tram, or have any sound or video issues, reach up and grab the red E-cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please stay seated and keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. That's rule 2. Remember to use the red cord above your head if you need any assistance. The studio is private property, and if at any time during the tour you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the cord and remain seated. Please, no smoking of any kind during the tour. That's rule number 3. Rule number 4, be prepared. Our tour today features loud noises, fire effects, sudden tram movements, and any water effects. You want to have your cameras out for great photo opportunities, but keep an eye on them so they don't get wet. Finally, for your safety and for the safety of those around you,
that was a great movie.
Do not use selfie sticks while on board. Universal got started back in 1912 when our founder, visionary Carl Laemmle, Company West and opened Universal Pictures on March 15, 1915. Mr. Laemmle and the Universal Studios tour was born. We're now making our way down our movie poster timeline, which covers our history from that not so long ago silent era, all the way up into the 21st century with some of our most recent walkouts. And where is the timeline taking us? It's taking us down onto our front lot. The front lot, like the nerve center of the studio, and the front lot is home to most of our 28 sound stages. Inside these buildings, we can create any environment that the story demands or that the script calls for. We can also use a sound stage to work on a television show that doesn't really have a script or story, like a reality series. Ahead of us is sound stage number 12. Being used for the reality series The Voice, which airs Mondays and Tuesdays on NBC. For the upcoming season 16 of The Voice, we're going to have returning celebrity coaches Adam Levine, Blake Shelton, Kelly Clarkson, and also a new coach, John Legend, a new coach there on The Voice. And here's the host of The Voice, Carson Daly.
Hi everybody, I'm Carson Daly from NBC's The Voice, and I welcome you to the Universal Front Lot. Our show is happens to be the largest soundstage on the Universal lot.
It was inside that stage that all the following sequences were shot. Stage 12 was big enough to hold sets such as the Visitor Center for Grove Park, downtown Greenville for the live-action How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and East Resort for couples retreats. Coming up on the left is stage 18, recently used for the limited series on Bravo, Dirty John, starring Eric Bana and Connie Bridgen, based on the LA Times podcast of the same title. Also on the left, the last two stages here are stages 17 and 16. They contain the interiors of Cloud 9, the big box store, which is the title location and workplace for the series Superstore, with America Ferrera, Ben Philp, and Mark McKinney, Colton Dunn, Lauren Ash, and Crazy Rich Asians Nico Santos. Superstore airs Thursdays. Very big store. It's so big. How big is it, Robert? Yeah, thanks for asking. So big that it takes up 3 stages. Stages 17 and 16 back there, and also stage 21 coming up here on the left. And stage 21 has also been the home to epic movie sets such as Mission Control for Apollo 13. Here's director Ron Howard.
Realism was an essential element of Apollo 13. After all, we were recreating an important moment in American history, a moment many Americans witnessed on television. We thought about filming in Houston, Texas, where the original control room for the Apollo missions still exists. Unfortunately, NASA's engineers didn't have filmmaking in mind when they built Mission Control, since there was no room for the elaborate camera cranes and tracks we needed for the shots. We had to build our own Mission Control. Everything had to be exact, even down to the tiniest detail.
Coming up on the right are stages 41 and 42, which are currently being used for season 2 of Good Girls with Christina Hendricks, Retta, and Wayne Whitman. It's returning to suit NBC. It goes not to be confused with The Good Place with Kristen Bell and Ted Danson. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 of The Good Place were filming in stages 43 and 44. The next two coming up here on the right, and also on the right. Assemble the Minions. Illumination Entertainment next exits. Illumination Entertainment is our animated features division. They brought the Minions to us in films like Despicable Me 3, featuring the song Yellow Light by Pharrell Williams, who was recently also heard as the narrator in Universal and Illumination's animated Dr. Seuss's The Grinch. The Illumination folks have got their offices inside one of the bungalows coming up on the left. A lot of you are going to be looking to the left already. You probably are. I think you're probably looking at that talking Teddy over there with the martini. Not that I blame you. Who's going to look at me when there's Ted's over there? So Ted and Ted 2 with Mark Wahlberg and the voice of Captain Ed Mercer himself, Seth MacFarlane, as Ted. They were productions of Universal and Bluegrass Films, who've got their offices inside one of those first bungalows over there on the left. These other bungalows coming up here. They appear to be ordinary little beige buildings. That's what they want you to think. Don't believe it. Inside are the offices of some of the other top production companies in Hollywood, like Robert Zemeckis, the director of the Back to the Future trilogy and Welcome to Marwen. His company, Image Movers, they got an office here. And then there's Bungalow 5195. Currently, it's home to the De Laurentiis company who brought us the NBC series Hannibal, and it was also once the working space of the master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock, the director of classics like Psycho with Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates.
We have 12 vacancies.
You can see Hitcher's profile there on the wall next to the door. Now coming up is a 3-story structure. Those are more production offices. They're connected to stages 22 and 23. These stages have been used for, actually stage 22 with that poster for the Titan Games. Yeah, it was used for season 10 of Will and Grace along with season 9. And these stages have also been used for some reality shows, including seasons 1 and 2 of Jennifer Lopez's World of Dance. We're now leaving the front lot. We're going to be leaving the front lot here and heading on to the back lot, where the world is just around the corner. Coming up on the left are our metropolitan sets in New York Street. And you'll take note that most of these sets are, they're examples of facades, not more than false fronts and sides of buildings. For filming purposes, that's very often all that we need, only what the camera can see. Although at one time the insides of these facades are not very usable, some of them now feature open interior spaces with steel infrastructures, which enables both interior and exterior filming. Some of these sets became 1962 Baltimore for Hairspray Live with newcomer Maddie Bolio as Tracy Turnblad. And Harvey Fierstein as Edna Turnblad, Tracy's mother. Martin Short as Wilbur Turnblad, Edna's husband, Tracy's father. Wilbur is the owner of the Hardy Har Hut Joke Shop, which is coming up here on the right on this end of what's called Brownstone Street. So we took it back to 1962 for that production. It's kind of like doing time travel. Did I just say time travel?
Well, we're going, we don't need roads.
Take a look at where we're headed. Or should I say, when we're headed. We're taking a trip back to the future into Courthouse Square.
Yeah, there it
became the town of Hill Valley in a number of time periods, and even alternative time periods, and the Back to the Future trilogy with Michael J. Fox. And here's Doc Brown himself, Christopher Lloyd, and again, co-writer, co-producer Bob Gale.
It was actually
That is the clock tower.
Square that inspired the entire climax to Back to the Future.
I had scenes up on the clock tower on that ledge. And I was standing inside looking at the ledge.
Those buildings look so real.
I just thought there's no way in the world, no way I'm going to stand on that. I was up there for quite a while. Of course, I had a cable.
Courthouse Square became Hill Valley for two different versions of 1985 for the Back to the Future films. These sets also appeared in some of the 1950 scenes. And they've appeared in Psycho 2 and To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yep.
They became part of Buffalo, New York for Bruce Almighty, and Hill Valley in what would have been at the time the far off distant year 2015.
Right there, from
1989's
Bruce
Back to the
Almighty.
Future Part 2. Now we're going to make a right turn onto our New York street, which will be appearing in episodes of the NBC series Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's going to premiere tomorrow, January 10th on NBC. Brooklyn Nine-Nine with Andy Samberg, Tammy Cruz, Melissa Fumero, and Andre Brower. Also, speaking of reality shows, more than once we've had obstacle courses placed along the entire length of our New York street for various rounds of the reality series American Ninja Warrior, which airs Mondays on NBC. Now, live from New York, or New York Street, and almost live, here's my co-host, Jimmy Fallon.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York. I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. What's got mugged over there? An old woman, tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. I'm walking here. Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here,
looks
you can
like
make
New
it
York.
anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
We get some assistance with the recent redesign of these sets from people like our friend director Steven Spielberg, who's only one of the many legendary directors with whom Universal has collaborated over the years. There's also Academy Award winner Peter Jackson, the director of our 2005